Good morning. So today I have Tyler with us, who is a team leader and a team builder. He focuses on actually building amazing teams because he understands that what makes a company successful is based on the people that it has. Let's welcome Tyler on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, who used to play sports in his university, but he realized that actually what makes an individual good things usually can happen based on an individual and what he does, but what makes teams great are based on the people that I work with. So let's welcome Tyler, who
Sure.
will tell us about his experience and where he's currently working. Hi Tyler, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Manal. How are you?
Good, thank you so much for joining us. So Tyler, can you tell us about your journey? How has the pandemic treated you exactly?
Yeah, it's been a unique experience for me throughout the pandemic. Before that, like you said, I played sports in college and had a really awesome experience with that, and then dove right into the workforce doing something that I wasn't loving at the time, which was, no offense to all my old colleagues, but I was rating municipal bonds. So I had my head buried in audits and budgets and official statements all day long. Wasn't for me, so I got into something a little bit more people related. Dove headfirst into tech recruiting at an agency when I knew nothing about it, and learned as I went, and ended up going from there into the consulting world for a couple of years. Then made the switch to doing it internally at a company called Amwell, and had a pretty interesting ride there. Everything from being the first tech recruiter to leading all the recruiting for the company, and then found myself on a job search in the middle of the pandemic, and then now I'm here at Hall Hub. We're building teams for a construction software company. So I've certainly been industry agnostic throughout my career, going from healthcare to construction. But what I've always found fun is kind of the ability to bring technology to where, to industries that haven't really been kind of slow on the uptake of adopting it, but also, just building teams, seeing what those teams do together and the impact that those can make. And fortunately, I've been able to kind of work at a couple companies where they've really affected everybody, right? Like healthcare affects
Yeah.
everybody, obviously. And if you drive anywhere, fly anywhere, what we do in construction affects you because we build the roads.
Of course. Well, I'm just very curious, what sports do you play, Tyler?
I was a baseball player. Now I play
Okay.
more golf than I do baseball, but yeah, I played baseball in college. I was a catcher. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah. Golf
it's
though. Golf's a bit boring.
only non-golfers say it's boring, right? It's
I
not the
mean,
most. I will say this: if you're a contact sport person, golf's not for you, right? But I mean, it's something you can play all your life. I grew up playing it. It's funny because the vast majority of people that play golf are usually pretty bad at it, but for some reason they keep doing it anyways.
I
And
mean, the way you're getting defensive, I think it might actually be boring. So I'll take your word on that, Tyler. But other than that, you've definitely had an interesting journey specifically, and it definitely sounds like you actually faced the consequences of the pandemic. But then again, you actually managed to thrive through, and you're now at a company where you're enjoying and part of something that could eventually turn into something great. So thank you for sharing that. So you're the director of recruitment in your specific company. Can you tell us about what kind of people is your company looking for? Are you hiring? What kind of roles are open, Tyler?
yeah, we've been hiring throughout the entire pandemic. I haven't been here throughout all of it, but I've been here a little over a year, and we've been. I think we started 2020 with a little bit under 20 employees, and we're up over 100 now. So we've grown a lot.
A lot.
Every team has grown. I think we've created teams. I think when I started, it was a lot of product and engineering. It's still product and engineering. It will probably never not be product and engineering. It's like
I think
most
it'd be
others.
concerning if it's not, because
Yeah,
the
exactly.
technology keeps on getting improving and everything, and you're just like, okay, what now?
Yeah. So no, our product and engineering teams are 100% in build mode. They have been, and they will be for a long time. But also we built sales teams. I think when I got here, the business development team, the account exec team, they were much smaller than they are today. So we built those out a lot. We built out customer success, support. We've hired a bunch of several folks at like the executive level. So it's been a lot of fun. Just, I think the opportunity for me to kind of come in here as really the first ever recruiter that they had. So came into a blank slate and got to build out, our recruiting function, the whole process, hired all the people, and seeing what those teams and ultimately us as a company have accomplished because of that. That's kind of why how'd you get into recruiting? Why do you stay? Like, that's it right there. Seeing like the teams that you build create awesome stuff.
So you're
And then
like
I
a
also
proud
get to
parent.
play a little bit. What's that?
So you're like a proud parent then.
I guess so. Um, that's one way to put it for sure. Yeah, and then I also get to I'm part of the team that kind of answers the question of, okay, now that we've hired them, how do we retain them? And that's a really fun challenge to solve, right? Because it's enough of a challenge to get them in the door, but how do we keep them here? In a hiring landscape that's as competitive as it is today is not easy. So it's
Of
it's
course.
it's wearing a lot of hats, having a lot of fun, and working pretty hard.
That definitely sounds interesting and fun. But then again, I think from your recruiter's point of view, what are some of the mistakes that a lot of companies make when it comes to actually retaining the talent? Because okay, then they're like, okay, we've hired the talent, now we don't have to worry. But then a better offer comes and the employee actually ends up leaving. So how do you make sure that the talent that you actually hired in the first place actually stays and produces results for the company?
Yeah, I think you kind of said the problem that most companies have. Okay, we hired them, now we're good, right? And then that's just step one, right? And then that opens up a whole new door of things. So, I mean, you obviously, you obviously have to pay them competitively. Otherwise, there'll be, the next great offer is going to draw their attention. But I think more importantly than that, for each individual person, you have to have, you have to give them the ability to grow, right? And you have to show them that what they're doing each and every day connects to the larger why of the company, right? And if you're not doing that, people will get bored just kind of doing what they're doing on repeat and not understanding why they're doing it. And so that's one thing we're working really hard on, especially as a fully remote company. Everyone's been remote, obviously, but we're going to stay this way. So making sure that all those different pieces are connected to each other, even though we're all in separate places, it adds a little extra wrinkle of challenge to it, I think. But and it's you have to have growth plans for each and every employee, and that's on the managers to do. But I think the larger company has to be bought into it. And you have to have clear goals. You have to have a clear vision as a company, and it's not always an easy thing to do, right? And I think but having that, having the growth plan, obviously like compensating them well, but that's kind of that's not unique to any company. But you have to really paint the mission and how each and every employee is contributing to that and making an impact on that. And even further than that, like what they're not just internally as a company, but like for us, right? Like we build construction software. Our customers are paving highways and runways and building bridges and dams. So, painting the picture of like, yeah, you're helping us grow as a company, you're helping me build a product, but you know, you're also helping everyone that drives a car, right? So and it's we laugh about it, but there's real tangible impact that every company makes downstream down to the
That's
customers,
true.
and making sure that your employees understand that every time they log into their computer, they're helping towards that and they're making a positive impact that way.
That's true. I think it's all interconnected, and we tend to underestimate how the little things add
For
up
sure.
eventually. So I can definitely see why you would say something like that. And the last question would be, Tyler, from a recruiter's point of view, what are some of the mistakes that candidates make specifically when they're applying for jobs that lessen their chances of getting that job in the first place?
Yeah, and I think it's especially in today's environment, it's more competitive than I've ever seen it on both sides of the aisle, right? I'm constantly competing against other offers, but I think for candidates, like you can uncomplicate this like a complicated situation by breaking it down into little steps, right? So for me, and I can kind of relate this back to when I was on a job search in May of 2020. Like what I see, and then what I see now is people more so than ever before are applying to a position where their resume is like one of 300 people, right? So banking on the idea that I'm going to blindly send my resume to this company that I've never talked to anybody before at that company and expecting them to read my resume and contact me. It's a low probability approach, right? So then it's okay. So how do I get the attention of the person who's going to read this? And so we already know, like, and I'm not reinventing the wheel here by saying that sending in your resume and not doing anything else is probably not going to get you a phone call. So then you look at, okay, how can I get directly in front of the people that are going to read this? So who is that? That's your recruiter. That's the leaders on those in those departments, on those teams of the companies. And obviously LinkedIn is a really good place to start. And most of the job descriptions like posted on LinkedIn, right? Like they even say who the poster is. So contact them directly, right? And because if you think about it, of those 300, maybe I read, maybe I don't get through all of them, right? Maybe I've hired the person before I get through more than 150 resumes. So, and what if your resume was 160th, right? But if people contact me on LinkedIn, there's like a 90% chance I'm reading that, probably higher, right? So the likelihood like I'm going to read your resume, I'm going to know who you are, I'm going to see you, is so much higher if you're contacting people directly. And then from there, the next advice I would give is, okay, so now you've got my attention. How do you keep it, right? And or anybody, hiring manager, any other recruiter, make your message compelling, right? Like I'm sure I'm not the only one that knows that LinkedIn has a templated message that they kind of give you to send people like recruiters or hiring managers. Like, I think I'm a good fit because of my experience in this and that. Delete it, write a custom one. Like plain and simple. Go on the company website.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed, right? Like when I got this job, I was one of 5 people out of over 300 applicants that actually contacted our CEO directly. So like it seems like Captain Obvious, right? But people aren't doing it. So go on find the company values, find blog posts that they've written, connect your experience to what is meaningful to that company and how you can bring value and make an impact to that company. And that's what's going to get your resume right. And then, really quick on the resume, like and I tell this to people all the time, like if you're writing your resume, the biggest thing I can tell you is don't write your job description, because I can probably go on the company's website, find that position posted, and figure out what you do. I want to know what you've done, right? So write what, it's important to know what you're supposed to do, but I want to know what you've done, what accomplishments you've made, what goal, like your goals, how you've exceeded, have you exceeded them, by how much, like how much, could be like how much money you've saved the company or how much revenue you brought in if you're in sales, right? So like, I don't want to, like if you're in sales, perfect example, if you write in, I prospected to customers, I did demos. Yeah, every salesperson does that, right? How'd you do against your quota, right? How many, what kind of revenue did you bring in? That's what's going to get, I think, your resume to stand out. Like, and it's pretty simple stuff, right? And I think a lot of people overlook that. And it's really just going a couple extra steps of your time to get the time of the people that you want, right? And so that's couple quick and easy things people can do that doesn't require any sort of crazy degrees or even anybody can do that, right? Just with a little extra effort, and it goes a long way.
Okay. Makes sense. I think usually people go for quantity over quality because they're like, okay, the more I apply, the more chances I have to hear back from companies. When usually if you actually put in time and effort to actually apply to the company that you really want a job with, the chances are you might hear from them because the work actually shows and it might make you stand out amongst thousands of other candidates. So thank you for sharing.
I'll say this
that,
as a recruiter, like if I'm on the fence with somebody's experience, but I can tell they've taken the time to research, to show genuine interest, that's going to tip the scales for me for sure.
Okay, perfect. So if you are interested in that, reach out to Tyler. Then you might never know.
Yes,
your next job might be here.
I love to hear from people.
Okay, perfect. Well, Tyler, our time is up. It was an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for sharing about your journey and about how you play golf, which I still think is boring.
That's okay.
But other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
Likewise, Manal. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.